Blue snow. Monsters, the forgotten race, have been freed from the underground for half a year. Humans have forgotten of their existence, even some mystic have forgotten about them, but mages will never forget. Now that monsters roam the surface once more, mages must face their past actions. A meeting was summoned amongst the strongest and royal mages to discuss how they should handle the case of monster kind. The Mage Kingdom will be on temporary lockdown as they try and come to a decision, with the exception of the Necromancer Kingdom. The head of the Necromancers will be attending both the Mage meeting and the meeting with the Mystic Council. With the Necromancer clan involved, hopefully these meetings can run quickly and smoothly, and the past will not be repeated. Hey, are you ready to go yet? Everyone's waiting downstairs. Yeah, I just got to finish this letter and send it off. And why don't you just call or text them? Wouldn't that be easier than sending a familiar? Yes, it would be, but I'm also sending her a gift and I don't know how long this dang meeting is going to take. True, true. Well, I'm going to head downstairs now. Don't take too long and tell YN I said hi. Okay, I got it. Be down in a bit. You were having a peaceful slumber until a wave of strong magical energy kept occurring above you. The magical energy sent vibrations and static running through the ground. Honestly, you were trying to ignore it. It was far too early in the morning to deal with this. As long as they don't penetrate the ground near you, then everything will be fine. A loud squawk was heard as the top layer of the crust of the earth was being scratched at. Shortly after, another wave of magical energy passed along the surface. The focal point of the attacks seems to be where you are. Now might be a good time to move. YN. You awake? Ember? What's going on? You look around to see if you can find Ember. It isn't long before he floats down next to you. He's harder to see when he's phasing through things. It's like looking at a faded drawing in the dirt. Not sure. Jupiter was cooking breakfast when a skeleton hawk came and started attacking the ground. We were afraid it was after you. We need to leave. A skeleton hawk? Yes. A powerful wave of magic sweeps across the surface, shaking the ground. Even as the ground stilled, you could feel the vibration from the magic attack. Popping up right now probably isn't the best idea. Wouldn't want to accidentally get impaled by magic now, would we? Ember, I know that hawk and it means no harm. Please tell Dust and the others to stop attacking it. Ember studies you for a moment before flying out of the ground, presumably toward the others. Being careful not to leave the ground, you rotate your body so you're laying on your stomach. You start doing the breaststroke within the ground, keeping a careful eye on the magical energy and vibrations in the area. The attacks decrease slightly, but you can still feel some magical energy being tossed around. Once you're far enough away, you carefully pop your head out of the ground, to make sure it's safe to come out. Not seeing any attacks headed your way, you decide to exit the ground entirely. Usually you would enjoy the feeling of dirt falling off your bones, but you don't have time for that now. You try to see where everyone is, but it's too bright outside from the morning sun. Your eye sockets are extremely sensitive to sunlight, making it difficult to see. And of course, you left your bag inside along with your sunglasses. Despite being blinded by the sun, you can still feel the magic vibrations in the air and can hear squawking from Pin, the skeleton hawk. Guess Ember didn't do a good job at calming them down. Get down, yelled Jupiter before you were tackled to the ground. Disoriented, the world seems to spin as you try to collect yourself. Trying to look around, everything looked blown out, nothing but blinding white with bits and pieces of objects coming into view. You vaguely see a concerned Jupiter who is protectively shielding you. In the blinding sky, you see a blurry spot flying in circles above you. YN, are you okay? It's bright. Far too bright. Unable to look in Jupiter's direction, you turn over and bury your face in the grass. You need to de-escalate the situation, and hiding your face in the grass isn't helping. Pin. Please wait in a tree for me. I know I'm not your master, but let me calm them down before one of us gets hurt. Okay, but please hurry. Miss Nova wanted me to deliver these and return as quick as possible. Of course, just fly away to a safe distance please. As you wish. Okay, now to Cal. Y/N? YN, are you okay? Jupiter is gently shaking your shoulder as you keep your face pressed into the grass. You felt a slight static charge near you before someone kneels beside you, resting their hand on the back of your head. Hey, ya doing okay down there? Mars asks with concern clear in his voice. Without lifting your head, you move your hands, so you can sign to them. I'm okay guys, it's just too bright outside for my eye sockets. Do you mind helping me back inside? Of course, YN. Levi T2, the great papyrus. He yells as he scoops you up in his arms and runs toward the house. Mars follows shortly after, glancing at Dust who was standing off to the side before going inside. Dust stayed outside as he kept a sharp eye light on Pin that is now perched on a tree, occasionally watching him and the door. Jupiter gently puts you on the couch still looking nervous, while Mars slowly entered the room. Thanks for the help Papyrus. If you don't mind, could you get my bag from the kitchen? You ask while covering your eye sockets with your palms. Oh of course. He quickly exits the room and returns just as quickly with your bag in hand. Gently placing it onto your lap, you quickly sign a thank you. As you rummage through your bag looking for sunglasses, Mars comes to stand beside you looking rather tense. So, want to explain why you're under attack? It wasn't a question but a demand. Holding up one finger for the universal sign of wait a minute as you put on your sunglasses and wait for your eye socket to adjust to the dark. Once your eye sockets stop hurting you sign to Mars. I wasn't under attack. That's my friend's familiar, Pin, he's here to deliver me a package. Hey. Your friend has an interesting way of delivering packages. Well, for mystics using familiars to deliver packages and messages is pretty normal. Although he is being a bit aggressive in his delivery. Normally if she sent me a package her familiar would just wait nearby for me to wake up, not attack the ground to try and force me up. I hope nothing serious has happened on her end. PFT, tell me about it. The damn thing almost tripped up half the yard to get to you. Sorry about that. I'll talk to her about how she handles her familiars later. For now, let me get this package. Leaving Dust and Pin alone is making me a bit nervous. You don't sense any magical attacks being used outside, but you're still a little worried about them. Slinging your bag over your shoulder, you get up from the couch only to be stopped by a hand tightly gripping your forearm. Jupiter has a firm grasp on your forearm, while looking rather tense and nervous. You pat his hand before gently removing it from your arm. Hoping to give him a comforting smile, Aurora, you link your fingers together with his as you hold his hand, hoping he'll calm down a bit. He gets that light orange blush on his cheekbones. Closing his eye sockets, it's so weird that they have bone lids. Maybe one of them will let you touch it later, when things have calmed down a bit, and takes a couple of deep breaths. Weird does he need to breath. It's fascinating to see his ribs expand though. He opens his eye sockets and gives you a resolute nod as his hand tightens around yours ever so slightly. Not sure what he saw in your lack of an expression, but he looks a lot calmer now. Mars on the other hand still looks a little tense. But you've wasted enough time. It's time to collect your package. Thanks to your sunglasses you are ready to face the dreaded Death Star. Exiting the house with Jupiter and Mars close behind, you notice Dust leaning against the side of the house with his hands stuffed in his jacket pockets, keeping a close eye on Pin. So, he's a friend of yours? Dust asks with venom seeping into his voice, as he continues to stare at Pin. His smile seems a bit more strained, matching his tense posture, despite trying to look laid back and nonchalant. One of your hands is still being held hostage by Jupiter's larger hand. Not that you mind, but you can't sign like this. You don't want to let go of Jupiter's hand. Besides, his grip increased slightly since you went outside, so you settled for giving him a thumbs up. He gives you a slightly confused look before glancing down at your hand that's connected with Jupiter's. His expression shifting to an unreadable one. Miss YN, is it safe to conduct our business now? I'm afraid I must leave post haste. Pin says, grabbing your attention once again. Oh, right, sorry for the delay. Just land on the ground in front of me, I'll remove the package from you, and then you'll be on your way. Yes, ma'am. As soon as Pin moves his skeletal wings to prepare for his flight, all three skeletons visibly tense up and you can feel magic flowing dangerously in the air like an electric charge. Jupiter moves so that he's standing between you and Pin. He lands a few feet in front of you with his back facing you. Gently rubbing Jupiter's arm, you pry your hand away and make your way towards Pin. Kneeling, you carefully remove an envelope from Pin's tiny bird bag. Once the envelope is removed, Pin turns to face you as he gives a brief bow before flying off into the sky. Sorry for the hold-up and all the trouble we caused you. You yell through your telepathy as you wave goodbye. He doesn't respond, but you hope he heard you at the very least. So, it really was here to deliver a package, Dust says more to himself than to you, as the three skeletons approach you. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. If I knew she was going to send me a familiar, then I would have warned you guys beforehand. Taking this moment to look around the yard, the fight really did do a number on the yard. The grass where you slept was torn up, revealing the fresh layer of dirt underneath. There were sharpened bones sticking in the ground and even in the side of the house. From their magic signature you can tell that some are from Pin. Mixed in with Pin's bone attacks are also colored bones of blue and orange scattered around the ground and in the trees. Those must be from your new Skell friends, although you haven't been around them to clearly make out their magical signature yet. But thanks for trying to protect me, and I'll make sure she pays for the damages to your yard and house. You say with a sheepish smile. Nonsense, this it is the least I can do to protect my new friend. Jupiter reassures you as he poses heroically, scarf flapping in the gently breeze. But if she wants to pay for it, she can. Mars says, looking around the yard with a critical eye. Mars? What? You can't help but laugh at their antics, covering you mouth with one hand as your shoulders shake and bones rattle gently. Mars and Jupiter stop their arguing, too distracted with your laughing form. Not that you noticed since you weren't looking at them. Dust clears his throat to get your attention. So what did you get? He asks. Curiosity getting the better of him as he moves stand behind you, so he can peer over your shoulder. Oh, right. You open the letter carefully, mildly concerned about the three nosy skeleton monsters trying to see your letter. Hopefully this isn't something that's supposed to be kept a secret. The letter reads. Hiya YN. Sorry that this is a bit last minute, but I don't need that monster food anymore. Or at least not for now _ Anyway. I have to attend a meeting with the rest of my family and I don't know how long this stupid thing is going to take. So, I might not be able to get in touch with you for a while. And sorry about Pin, I kinda figured you might still be asleep, but I really needed that letter delivered to you quickly. So, I told him to do whatever was necessary to get the letter to you quickly. Also, before you ask, no, I couldn't just call or text you this. How else was I going to give you your present? 3. Look in the envelope. There should be a necklace. Did you find it yet? Isn't it cool? It's a charm necklace. It helps with finding mystical objects, things that contains magic plants, magic elementals, magic artifacts, magical spellbooks, and magical dungeons, which have magic artifacts and magical spellbooks. So, I hope you find it useful and have fun with it. Love you 3 Nova. P.S. Noel said hi. P.S.S. we should hang out sometime. Smile. Laughing to yourself, you shake your head fondly at the letter, before folding it up and putting it back in the envelope. She's forever a goofball. You think with a smile before pulling out the charm necklace she gave you. You hold the necklace in front of your face for all to see. It has a silver chain with a silver crescent moon charm attached to it. Within the crescent moon was an amber gemstone. It was yellow with different shades of orange in the center of it. It looked like a flame burning brightly in a shiny yellow orb. The light from the sun shining through it caused a rainbow to appear around the gem. The rainbow came from the light reflecting off the magic in the gemstone that is barely visible to the eye socket. Needless to say, it was beautiful. Wow, Jupiter said breathlessly. Beautiful, Mars added. What is that? Dust asks. It's a charm necklace, you start to explain while putting the necklace on. The gemstone is called amber. These are really rare. I'm surprised she actually managed to find one. I'm going to need to get her something special as a thank you gift after she gets out of that meeting. Wowie. She must be a really good friend of yours to give you something this rare and beautiful. Smiling, mentally, yeah. She's a really good friend of mine. You say while admiring the necklace some more. The mood seems to shift a little as their facial expressions range from disheartened to mildly annoyed. She's apparently in a meeting for who knows how long. So, she doesn't need the monster food anymore. You say in hopes of changing this new sober mood that came from nowhere. Monster food? Why did she need that? Well, she didn't need it, she just wanted to try it. It is something that's relatively new after all. You explain with a shrug. The look of realization flashed on his face before speaking excitedly. Why, and does this mean you don't have to go to the city? You nod your head in agreement. Then does that mean, why you can stay for a bit longer? He asks bashfully. All eyes are on you as you think about it for a moment. Even though it's ridiculously early, you're wide awake now and probably won't be going to sleep anytime soon. At least not without some magical help. But it's not like you have anywhere you need to be. Let alone a home to return to, so I guess I could stay a while. Really? Yeah, I guess I can stay with you guys for a while. That is if you'll have me. You say as you scratch the back of your skull. Of course, it's okay. He yelled in excitement as he grabs you and spins you around happily. Oh. Well, have so much fun, we can even have a sleepover tonight. This is great and all, but can someone get him to put me down please? This kinda hurts and I'm afraid he'll split my body in half at this rate. You tell Ember. Your arms are pinned to your sides, so you can't sign to the others. Ember nods before turning to Dust Sands. Y/N appears to be in pain. Can you get Jupiter to release her? After a quick glance at Ember, Dust captures Jupiter's attention. Jupiter. Is something burning? He asks while pointing towards the back door. Gasp. He brings one hand up to claps his cheek in surprise. Not breakfast. He quickly lowers you to the ground before speeding off to the kitchen, leaving a dust cloud in his wake. Looking at the direction Jupiter just ran off to, you chuckle a bit to yourself before turning to the others. Thanks for the help, I really owe you one. You to Ember. Ember somehow defies the logic of the dead and blushes slightly, giving you a shy nod while a mischievous smile spreads across Dust's face and you immediately regret saying that. I'll hold you to it. Come on, let's go see if there's any breakfast left, Mars says while walking past you with a pat to your shoulder. The four of you head inside and the closer you get to the house the stronger the burnt smell is. Honestly, you thought Dust was lying about something burning, but I guess he was right. Once inside the kitchen you see Jupiter bustling around the kitchen, throwing away the burnt food with a pained expression and quickly preparing to make some more pancakes. It looks like he started making some before Pin came. He must have left a pan with pancake batter in it on the stove when he came to save me. R.I.P. pancake, R.I.P. Soon breakfast is served, and everyone is eating except for you and Ember, of course. However, you still enjoy visible presentation and delectable smell of the food. the sweet aroma filling the air and the pancakes look so soft and fluffy. It would definitely make for a great pillow. Struggling not to openly stare at them while they eat, you try to look at anything else and keep the conversation going. It doesn't help that Dust and Mars have decided to drink ketchup with their pancakes. Based on Jupiter's and Ember's reaction, you can guess that that's not a normal combination. Finally, you decide to steer the conversation in the direction of the traps outside. You were curious about them last night but didn't get a chance to ask about them. On my way to Airbots City I ran into a lot of traps. Do you know what that was all about? You asked curiously. Jupiter's face instantly lights up. Those are my puzzles. Your puzzles? You mean you created all of them? Of course. Who else could create such wondrous masterpieces? He states while posing heroically in his chair. They were pretty impressive, right? Well, there certainly were a lot of them, but I can say that net trap I got caught in worked perfectly. Jupiter pauses in his eating to scan you for injuries, from what he can see of you above the table, that is. I'm so sorry, YN. I hope I didn't harm you with my very clever trap. Mars sits up a little straighter as he peers over at you. I'm fine. Just curious what all the traps and puzzles are for. Some of them even had magic embedded into them, right? Jupiter looks relieved before quickly going back to being excited. Yes. I'm surprised you managed to notice IT though. Well, I'm no stranger to traps and puzzles. Although I still make mistakes from time to time. Do you like puzzles? Do you like puzzles as well? Ember and Jupiter say at the same time. Yes, but it depends on the type of puzzle, I suppose. I prefer cryptic puzzles, but I also like mechanical, word, and trivia puzzles, as long as I know the topic at least. Oh, and riddles if that counts. Ember and Jupiter are vibrating with excitement. Their eye sockets are wide and filled with sparkles and stars, and their smile is so wide that it threatens to split their face in half. On the other hand, Mars and Dust seem a bit more interested in the conversation. And is it you, or does there seem to be a tiny spark of motivation in their eyelights? YN. Would you like to test your skill with some of my puzzles? I''m. Sure they''ll. Leave you befuddle. You can't help but giggle at Ember's addition. Sure, I would love to try some of your puzzles. Excellent. I must calibrate my puzzles. He quickly puts his dishes in the sink before running out the door. Only to come back shortly after to yell, Sans. You must calibrate your puzzles as well, they haven't been calibrated in months. On it, Paps, he responds in a lackluster way, while giving a lazy salute. Jupiter runs out of the house again with an excited Naya hey hey. He sure seems excited, you say with a slight, silent, chuckle, gaining a laugh from Mars and Dust as well as a groan from Ember. Hey. You have no idea. You could hear loud construction noises coming from outside as you waited for Mars and Dust to finish eating. You figured Jupiter would come back for you when he was ready for you to try the puzzles, but you were curious about all the noise outside. You kept hearing the door opening and closing, and Jupiter running around the house rummaging for something, but you never actually saw him. It didn't help your curiosity, but you didn't want to ruin the surprise, if it was one, or accidentally cheat by seeing how he sets up the puzzles. Finally, after it seemed like Jupiter was gone for good, Mars and Dust finished eating. Quickly you washed the dishes before following everyone outside. Jupiter wasn't waiting for you outside, but there was a big sign next to the front porch. The sign was shaped like a giant arrow pointing into the woods with the word "Follow Me" written on it. Attached to the bottom of the sign was a little sticky note that said, Sans, don't forget to calibrate your puzzle. Love, the Great Papyrus. You couldn't help but giggle at the cute note. Hey. Well, just keep following the sign, kid, I'll catch up later. He says as he slowly rounds the corner of the house. Guess I better leave as well. Chuckling at the pun, you ask, and where are you going? Me and Ember are gonna check out the traps. See if anything's caught in them. Okay, hope you two have fun then. You say before following the marked path. Dust gave you a slight wave while Ember wished you luck. You followed the signs until you reached a clearing with Mars and Jupiter standing on the other side. Mars appears to have fallen asleep while standing up, which is both adorable and impressive. You kind of wish you could go back to sleep. The ground here does look very tempting, but before you can put your thought into action, Jupiter starts talking. And so it begins. I challenge you to cross this space using the magic orb I left for you. You look around and notice a swirling orb by your feet, so you bend down and pick it up. We will see how clever you really are. Isn't that right, Mars? ZZZZZ. Of course, each puzzle comes with a special rule. And that is .u.m. You hear? What was the rule again, brother? 5 puzzles. 3 freebies. If you're stumped, just flash the number of freebies you got left. He says as he holds up 3 fingers. Me or my bro will help you out. 3? That seems much too high. We had to adjust it, in account of no one reaching the final puzzle. And where am I supposed to find 3 frisbees, Mars? I swear you enjoy just giving me work. No, Paps. You make me say this every time. Freebies. Clues. What use will clue do? No. Clues. No clues? But I thought we agreed it was suitable to provide 3 for them. Don't do this. Otherwise she may end up to Jupiter is cut off by the loud rattling of your bones. You tried to hold in your laughter, but they were just too funny. You couldn't help it. Your bones rattled loudly as you were hunched over, grabbing your ribs in an attempt to silence them. YY/N, are you okay? Taking the time to collect yourself, you pick up the orb you dropped and straighten up. Yes, I'm fine. You guys are just too funny, believe me. Mars chuckles at your use of pun, seeming to relax a little again, while Jupiter groans, covering his eyes with his gloved hand. Enough. Go ahead, approach, YN. That orb shall protect you. You give a quick thumbs up before inspecting the space in front of you. It appears to be a large rectangular area that is slightly different color grass than the surrounding area. You don't sense any magic coming from the rectangle, so that cancels out magical traps or invisible walls. The magic is just that undetectable, but I doubt it. So, it has to have some sort of mechanical trap that's hidden somewhere. You drop to the ground and lay on your stomach as you inspect the trap from a lower perspective. You don't see anything that looks like a tripwire, but just in front of the square you see a barely noticeable circle in the ground. Scooching back slightly, you drop the orb on the circle and flinch as a giant bear trap covered in dried blood appears out of the ground. You get up from the ground, taking the orb with you as you stare at the trap. It's big enough to have snapped your neck into if you had stepped into it. Not sure if there were other traps hidden with the rectangle. You were about to roll the orb across it when Jupiter begins talking again. Wowie! On the first try you solved the puzzle. Finally, someone worthy to try my puzzles. Hey. Yeah. Mars says through gritted teeth. He looks very tense and his eyelight has contracted while appearing a little hazy. Oh goodness. Oh gracious. YN only has 4 puzzles left. And still 3 whole frisbees. Jupiter yells as he runs ahead to the next puzzle. Wait. What? There's no time to lose. To the next puzzle, Mars. Whatever you say, Paps. On your way to the next puzzle you were kind of getting some bad feelings about this. You thought these would be more along the lines of fun, friendly, and non-life-threatening puzzles, but that last puzzle was definitely a deadly. Judging by Mars' expression, it doesn't look like they are purposely trying to kill you, but maybe it was just that puzzle and the next one will be non-threatening. If any of the puzzles do seem threatening, I still have 3 freebies, but maybe Jupiter won't be too disappointed if I decide to stop early. Before you arrive at the next puzzle you see Mars blocking the path look a bit on edge. His eyelight is still hazy and his posture is rigid. His smile is stretched wide and curls near his cheekbones, making him appear a little unhinged. Here's something important to remember. Around here we have a very special snow. If you see blue snow, don't walk on it and it won't hurt you. Here's an easy way to keep it in mind. Imagine a stop sign. When you see a stop sign, you stop. Right? Stop signs are red, so imagine a blue stop sign instead. Simple, right? So remember, when walking, think about blue stop signs. You give him a firm nod in understanding as he turns and starts walking away. Briefly you wonder if that counts as a freebie or if thought Jupiter's next puzzle was a little too deadly for you. Thinking a bit, you decide to try the next puzzle. Mars gave you a hint on how to go about the next puzzle. Although, if all these puzzles are going to be deadly, maybe it would be better to call off the puzzles until we make some family-friendly safe puzzles. With heavy emphasis on the safe part. Don't get me wrong, I like a little bit of danger in my puzzle. I do raid dungeons after all, but I like to be prepared beforehand. After a while you arrive at the next puzzle. Similarly to the last puzzles, it's in an open field with a long rectangle between you and the brothers. The difference this time is that the rectangle is longer and is made out of snow. However, instead of being white, it's a pale blue color. And so, it begins again. YN. I challenge you to cross this empty space of snow. How hard can that be? Okay, so I'm not supposed to walk on the blue snow, but why? You glance around your immediate area for something useful, when your gaze falls upon a stick. You pick up the stick and inspect it. It's about an inch thick and as long as your forearm. A perfectly good stick for whacking the unknown. Kneeling down in front of the snow, you try to whack at the snow. When the snow sticks to it, you try to move and wiggle the stick, but the snow just keeps clinging to it and dragging it down. It's like quicksand but super sticky. Finally, you let go of the stick in fear of the snow coming in contact with your bones. Who knows if you'd get those pieces back? Looks like my only option is to either good around, use a magic item, or to ask for a freebie. Do I even have a magic item for this specific situation? Let's just try going around it. You head to the corner of the rectangle, getting ready walk around when you glance at Mars. He was tense and his eyelight constricted again, and what appeared to be navy blue liquid trickling down his head. Is that sweat? Taking that as a bad sign, you grab a rock that was near your foot and slam it on the ground in front of you. Sharp blood-covered bones shot out from the ground. Well, at least now you know why he didn't want you to go over here. I don't really want to look through my bag to see if I have something that can take me over, so I'll just use that freebie. You hold up your hand and flash it relief for the brothers to see. You haven't even attempted this one. Just take a step. You're surprised that Jupiter wants you to take a step after seeing what happened with the stick. Maybe he knows how to solve this puzzle without sync, but then why would Mars warn me? Hopefully Jupiter isn't actually trying to kill you. He seems nice, but his morality seems a bit skewed, or maybe he's just a little apathetic. Either way, you hold steadfast in your decision and kept your hand in the air, showing the number 3. It is no use, she will not budge. Mars, retrieve YN. You gotta be kidding. I'm not touching that stuff. Big help as usual. Fear not YN. I, the great and only skeleton who does anything around here, Papyrus, will come to your aid. That was a little uncalled for. Jupiter starts running into the blue snow. You thought he was going to use some type of magic to cross the snow, but instead he just kept walking through it. Slowly sinking lower and lower until it was up to his armpits. Arms above his head, he grabs you by your spin. Would have been waste, but you don't have one. He seemed uncomfortable with the thought of picking you up like that, so he moves his hands under your armpits and lifts you up that way. Upsy daisy. Now that wasn't so hard. Making such a big deal out of nothing. Goodness brother, this one is doing well. Will she solve the next one? Clever girl. Mars looks relieved but still very tensed. I must say your exemplary performance is inspiring. I think you might just make it to my final puzzle. Finally. Tapping on his arm, you gain his attention and point to the ground. Once safely on the ground you sign to Jupiter. Jupiter, I'm sorry but these puzzles seem a bit too dangerous for a friendly hangout. Dangerous? What on earth do you mean? They're dangerous, Papyrus, or rather they're deadly, very deadly. How about we go back home and we can work on puzzles together? Fun ones that make ya think without the risk of possible death or dismemberment. You could feel Mars barely being able to control his magic. You were staring to worry about him with how tense he was getting. You try to send some of your magic to him in an attempt to calm him down. Why you want to make a puzzle with me? He asks, the shock and disbelief clear in his voice. Of course. Who wouldn't want to make puzzles with the coolest skeleton around? Naya hey. Of course, you would wish to create puzzle with the great puzzle master Papyrus. He yells as he poses dramatically, before grabbing your hand and running back to the house. Your chuckles were cut off as you had to sprint to keep up with him. Being thankful that he avoided the blue snow and all the other puzzles on the way back to the house. You could vaguely hear Mars chuckling behind you. Hopefully he's in a better mood than before.
I'm glad you enjoyed that video/gameplay. Just remember to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment down below. Until next time, goodbye!